Megan, the agenda will, oh, recording in progress. Yes, got it. And then Megan will lead us through the agenda that will be up after we do intro. Okay. So I'll start. I'm Lynn Ye, Prevention Director with DHS and Interim Coordinator for the partnership here. Okay. And now I'll bounce it to Judy.
Judy Haddon. I'm a longtime community member of the partnership. And part of the Youth Mental Health and Wellness Committee, I should say.
Okay, great. And Dave, we'll go to Dave.
I'm the same length of longtime member, community member as Judy. I think we started on the same day, didn't we, Judy?
Oh, no.
Is that
I was
right?
back
Wow.
there when things started back in the old
Back when dirt
days.
was invented or what?
Yeah, when dirt was invented. Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, I think 2012 is when I started. And glad to be here. And I had a good summer and I retired on June 15th from a paid job.
Oh,
wow.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I'm still busy.
Hey, let's go to John.
John Amberlin. I'm a committee member also with the Partnership Foundation and the Arlington Community Foundation. And Judy reminded me I'm on youth mental health.
Thank you, John. And Kimberly?
Hi, I'm Kimberly Baldini. I'm the Youth Services Section Leader with Parks and Recreation.
Okay. And let's go to Rick.
Hello, I'm Rick Stroback. I'm the Deputy Director of Court Services. Basically, this is a community-based program and do the financial stuff for the Court Services Unit of the Juvenile Court. I'm also with the Partnership Foundation.
And Sally.
Okay, I'm Sally Levante. I'm the web coordinator for arlingtonteens.com and partnership, and I'm on the prevention team with Lynn. And
Okay, and we'll go to Jamie.
Good evening. I am Jamie Premdas, she, her, hers pronouns. I am Children's Behavioral Health Bureau Chief at DHS, and I apologize, I am not able to be on camera.
No problem. I'm glad you're here, Jamie. And Laura Newton.
Hi, Laura Newton, work for APS, Director of Student Services. Glad to see everybody.
Okay. Linda Henderson.
Hi, I'm Linda Henderson, and as with John, I'm on the foundation, and I also work with Second Chance.
Okay. And I see Alicia Guajardo.
Hi, everyone. Yes, Alicia Guajardo, and I am also a community member and co-chair of the Youth Mental Health and Wellness Committee.
Okay. We'll go to Grace.
Good
Wagner.
evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Grace Wagner, data specialist with APS and the partnership.
All right. Siobhan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Siobhan Grayson, Youth Outreach.
Okay. And we'll go to Michael Griffin.
Yes, Michael Griffin, community member, chair on partnership.
Good to see you, Michael.
I can see myself, but okay.
I can see you. Good. Yes.
Okay.
Good to see you. And then lastly, Megan.
Hi, everybody. Megan Mack, she, her pronouns, the vice chair of the commission, volunteer, and I'm on vacation. So if I'm a little spaced out, it's because we just dashed in from the beach to come say hi to you all.
Oh, thank you for the effort. All right, Sally, could you, I'm not seeing the agenda up. Is that pulled up? Okay, there it is. Okay.
sorry,
So
it's
Megan,
a
do you want-
little small. Sorry.
Okay,
One
that's
sec.
okay. I think we moved it, we moved one item around a little bit because Janetta will not be joining us on time. She's in transition with traveling, but she'll be here within 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and start with Megan just kicking us off.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for your flexibility while we did, sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm on a phone. Didn't meet last month, and so here we are meeting in August, which we try not to do. And so thank you for joining us this evening. And so we put together, Michael and Lynn and I got together and put together an agenda for this evening's meeting. We have a new member, as Lynn was saying, and so we look forward to welcoming her when she's able to join, and hopefully someone on a bigger screen than I can let us know when Janetta joins us and Michael can introduce her. And so welcome, and welcome to staff who I know aren't supposed to be working on for an August meeting. So we really appreciate everyone being here.
Seeing a little bit of a connection issue. Let's see, is Megan still on? Okay.
Can you hear me? I'm trying to
Yes,
turn it
I
over
can-
to Michael if he can,
Yeah,
if he's here. Yeah.
we can hear you now. Yes.
Is Michael here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, Michael's
I'll
here.
just make sure. Good evening, everyone. During this meeting, I wanted to acknowledge that concerning a transition. Over the past year, I've held the role as chair, actually at least a year. As you know, I had to step in when Bart moved from Arlington to Richmond. And then I took over the chair for the remaining of the year from, like, I think it was April last year up until this present moment. And but over the last at least 6 months or so, I've been having some severe health challenges. And so it has been affecting me to where I felt the need, and I spoke to Lynn about this, and I spoke to Megan about this. And initially, the process I was doing was trying to slowly transition. But then when I noticed that my medications were increased from my doctor prescribed, dealing with several medications to include things dealing with the heart, I decided that it would be wiser to step down and start the transitioning process so that Megan could move up into this space and start the process of leading the partnership. And I'm very supportive of it. This was a decision that I decided to make because I felt like in some of the meetings, I wasn't totally present. Sometimes I was lethargic, somewhat lethargic because of the medication. But like I said, once again, I was sharing this information ongoing with Lynn and at different points in time with Megan. So I know she's definitely well equipped to be supportive in this role. And once again, for now, I see I'm here to support her anyway, but for now, I feel like it's crucial for me to definitely focus on making sure that I basically follow doctor's orders and focus on getting well as quick as I possibly can. So, but I definitely am thankful for the partnership, the honor, definitely been an honor. In the time period I've been in Arlington now, I've been living in Arlington about 4 years, almost 4.5 years at least. The partnership has been a huge part of that for at least 3 of those years or 3.5. So I'm thankful for that. And so I just wanted to let everyone know I do appreciate your support in me during this time, but your continued support in Megan and Lynn and in the rest of the leadership throughout the transition. And it requires a lot of patience, I understand, but I appreciate everything. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Michael, so much, and for all the work and effort you've put in spite of your illness, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. So I took a good look back at our charter, at the advisory board handbook, and the website, and just getting a little more hands-on. I know I don't think we have any of our newer members here this evening. So you all are really well versed in what Arlington commissions and committees are. And those dots, I know folks get them when they first join the partnership. I'm not sure they're easily found on our website. But I think that would be helpful probably, especially for our newer members. And then just to go over as people join and maybe kind of regularly in our meetings, some of the basics and some things that I was less aware of. But, for example, if 3 of us get together, then that's a meeting. Emails to and from staff are public FOIA-able information. What else?
Megan, I'm sorry, can
yeah.
I jump in for a sec, Megan?
Sure thing.
Yes, before we launch in further with the charter, I wonder, because I'm seeing some comments in chat, reactions to Michael's announcement. I wonder if additional folks would like to voice a few words for Michael. John is saying, Michael, I'm really sorry to hear about your medical issues. I certainly hope they resolve soon. Linda agrees, and glad you're prioritizing your health. But I wonder if it makes sense for us to allow a little bit of time for us to express our appreciation for Michael and his leadership during his time with us in the past years.
I'd like to just start off by saying, Michael, I think you're so brave for recognizing it's so hard to kind of, put your personal feelings aside sometimes. And like really what you said kind of struck a chord with me, because I've been in some similar situations. And I just wanted to let you know how proud I am of you, that you're prioritizing your health and how brave you are, and we'll still be here. So we'll do the good work, and when you're ready to lead the charge, we'll still be here.
Thank you.
Yes, more comments in the chat from Laura. And yes, let me put my hand down before I talk. I also, that's a great word, Kimberly, that Michael is so brave. And I think that your braveness, I've seen it over the years, Michael, and in many meetings with you where, very initial meetings, you jumped in and roll your sleeves up, and you have a critical eye, and you're a critical thinker. You look at systems and contributing factors and infrastructures, and always, with the eyes on equity and centering race. And I so admire that, in the meetings that I've been with you, and working so much more closely with you in the past, I would say, 6 months. I think you demonstrated tremendous leadership. And again, braveness in terms of the directions and the vision that you're carrying out, with the partnership of centering race and equity in our work. And lastly, I think that, I like I told you, I was kind of worried when I didn't hear from you for a few weeks, because I wonder about the health issue. And when I heard you, making priorities and making the decision that maybe this is transition time, I too am very proud and happy and glad to hear that, because I know that that's not your first thing to jump to, and you didn't want to kind of give up on what's happening here. But I fully support your decision and very appreciative of the foundation that you've helped paved for us as we move to the next phase. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Lynn.
Michael, I just want to wish you well and appreciate you. And as I've been struggling to figure out some things lately too, you've been patient with me too. And I just wish you all the best. And yeah, take good care. And if we can do anything, let us know.
Thank you, Sally.
Sorry, I jumped in and diverted you, Megan.
Oh, I'm glad that you did. Thanks so
I
much,
should have
Lynn.
known. I
That
should have
was,
put on the agenda standing ovation. That's what she looked like.
yeah.
The chair would do. So I'm not going to stand because my computer's on my lap, but definitely a standing ovation is important. So I should have popped that in there. You're appreciated. All right. Thanks.
Definitely. Thank you. And so, yeah, I didn't, I was learning a few things when I looked back at the charter and at the advisory board handbook about our role. I know our partnership really has members from all walks. We have a really active group of past members, which I'm so grateful for. We'll get to the P&D meetings, which we hope to bring back online. We'll get to that agenda item shortly. So to really take advantage of our membership. And so, and I think as hopefully new members come in, we really are cognizant of their membership cycle. And I think we're down a couple of members right now. It would be wonderful if we could be as active as Michael in recruiting and bringing in some fresh energy and folks to keep coming to our meetings. I know Lynn was telling me that we've had a little bit of membership shifting. Lynn or Sally, do you want to let folks know? I think we lost someone to a move.
Yes, so I think we're down 3 commission members. One was a library staff, and then our nurse, Dr. Lisa, transition. That's why Robert Sharp was standing in for her briefly. And then lastly, Ben English, our community member, also transitioned. I think he's moved away to attend school. So yes, we need to kind of get back into recruitment so that we're more fully represented with the 16 commissions.
We've had, this is Judy, we've had a membership committee in the past, and I don't think it's been active recently. I could be wrong, but there was a small group of people that looked at, who's on the partnership now? What other voices do we need to hear from? I think it worked pretty well. So, I would recommend that we go back and see what we've done to recruit and to discuss these kinds of things in the past and see who might be willing to work on that kind of thing.
Thank you for
I
that
have a whole bunch of
historical
notes.
knowledge. Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of notes on what we've done in the past.
Right. And I wonder, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I wonder if we can roll that function in the short term into the P&D, just for for efficiency as we're looking to kind of restart that. Maybe some of those members in the membership committee would be present in that group to bring up the conversation and help us learn from the past of how we proceeded.
Right. I think most everybody who was on the membership committee was involved in planning.
Okay.
Development.
Okay.
And I think development in most of the board, groups I've served on, and Girl Scouts especially, development includes membership recruitment.
Okay.
That's got to be like hand in hand.
Yeah.
I did also want to point out, we also have a couple members that are on the books that have not been able to attend as much. I know in particular, Anne Marie Douglas has been spending a great deal of her time working on the Outdoor Schools Initiative. So her I meant to see who was rolling off this December before this meeting, and some people might wish to re-up. And we're really glad that Megan's gonna re-up because her term would actually be expiring. But yeah, we definitely need to work on that. So.
And Colton, we haven't seen Colton in a while.
We haven't seen
I
Colton in
wonder-
a while. Yeah.
I wonder what's going on with Colton.
I haven't heard. I meant to reach out directly before this meeting. I mean, I sent him the late agenda that I'm sorry. When I was away, I got locked out. So, but I will see if I can reach out to him. I know he was working with some other parts of the county groups too on activity and healthy child stuff. So.
Okay.
And I can reach out to Kateri because she and I worked together on the Teen Network Board before, and she has not been coming to meetings. I had planned to get in touch with her anyway.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
And I can share the information that we've used in the past on membership with you, Megan, and with Lynn to let you know how we did this in the past.
That would be great.
If it would be helpful.
Yes.
That does sound helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think the charter, I mean, I know where to find it on the site, so it's easy for me to find. So, but definitely, I think the charter is the place to start with recruitment.
Do we have a list of members somewhere so we can see what parts of our community aren't well represented? It'd be easier to know where to look for new members if we knew where there were gaps.
We do have that list. I think you have access to that list, right, Sally?
Yes, and there is a membership list on the site. It doesn't say what zip code. It doesn't list PII, but it definitely, the people's names are there in their bios, and I probably need to update that. But yeah, currently it's up to date.
So maybe with the, us sending out the minutes, we can send out the current list that we have for everyone's review as well.
That sounds great. I can't tell if I'm freezing, but hopefully you all can hear me. Lynn, did you have more to say on the FOIA meeting requirements? I think there was a bit of a new policy and then that went on hold.
Yes. So FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, we had a meeting with Brian Helfer about a month and a half ago, and that was a heads up to all commissions and commission liaisons with the requirement per FOIA that starting September 1st, we were required to have hybrid meetings, right? So hybrid meetings will be in-person meetings with the option for some commission members to attend virtually. And it was a huge meeting. That was my first meeting as a commission liaison. So I met, some other folks who run other commissions, much larger commissions. And the challenge was that we, hybrid meetings is not just having a telephone where individuals who can't be in person can just call in. It's a whole kind of IT setup, audio, visual, and they have to have fisheye cameras, for example, like whole, like different animal. And the problem was that our county only had at that time 5 meeting spaces that are hybrid enabled technology-wise. And they were all located up in the building, the government building up at the courthouse. And so everyone was, kind of worried that there isn't enough room for all the commissions to meet. And that communication, there was actually an email that went around by all commissions to advocate for, can we stay virtual until we are more enabled in terms of, you know, having the resource to support us complying with this new rule. And just last week, the decision was made. So the email came out from the county manager or the board chair to say that, you know, we can continue on as the virtual platform in the context of what we're seeing with, you know, the variants and the Delta variants and all that. So that was a big relief, because I I was preparing to find rooms and to move us, but you know, it was really jockeying. Everyone was jockeying to find rooms, and it was very difficult. So that was a much you know, welcome news that came out just last week, that we can continue to proceed as we are now through the virtual platform until we're told otherwise. And while in the meantime, the county continues to develop more, you know, hybrid enabled rooms, and also, you know, as you know, Sequoia 1 in the basement, we have an auditorium. We've met there before, as you remember, for a partnership, and that room is on the list for you know, the technology, so that we could have hybrid meetings. And I would be keeping my eye on that. As soon as it's, you know, available, I would begin to look at signing up the room for our usage.
Thanks, Lynn. Any questions, anybody? They didn't put an end date on that, right? It's kind of indefinite.
Yeah, exactly. They did not put an end date. Yes, which is a good thing.
Yep. Great. Okay, so we talked about planning and development, and you all will remember that since we're in transition, we have Lynn, who has stepped in to be staff to lead for staff for us. People are pretty taxed. You know, Lynn had a full-time job before he joined us, and just in this time of transition, that we were not having partnership and development meetings. And so, and you know, sometimes it's nice to do some business in the main meeting, because just for equity reasons, people can't all join the partnership and development meeting, which is really rich with coming up with ideas for the next meeting. But since not everyone can be there, the other folks aren't necessarily contributing to what's on the agenda for the full meeting. So hopefully we'll be able to come up with a way to really incorporate feedback and encourage folks to always email with ideas for the next agenda. But we will try to reconvene the partnership and development meetings, which are every other, they're 2 weeks before the full partnership meeting. So every 2 weeks there's a meeting if you're joining for P&D. And planning and development, did I say partnership and development? So planning and development would be, that's always been available by telephone and virtually, is my understanding. So it wasn't an in-person meeting. And so we'd like to get those meetings going again, starting, I guess, in 2 weeks from this meeting. And again, everybody's welcome to join for those. We can make sure that everyone gets the invitations. Yeah, so Tuesday, September 14th would be the next one. I think we tried to have those a bit earlier in the evening, so 5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
And we'll announce those meetings just like any other meetings that we have on the website as well. Sally will put that up. And I think in one of the meetings with Megan, Michael, and I, we were trying to remember who made up the P&D, you know, meetings, who comprised of the members. And like Megan said, it was open for everyone. We saw a lot of, you know, commission members in there, and you know, foundation folks in there as well. So it was a mixture of different folks.
Lynn,
Any,
can I just ask a question? It's Linda.
yeah, hi, Linda.
We skipped over, I think, the coordinator job posting update. And since you are going to be reconvening planning and development in anticipation of you cutting back your 65 hours a week, is there any update on the coordinator position announcement or anything?
Sure. I think a soft update I can say is that we're looking to publish the position and recruit in the fall, so early fall. And it's not an exact date or month that we have, but we're pushing hard and having the position prioritized for recruitment. And also, it was never an issue of whether the position be refilled or not. It was always intended to be refilled. It's just it's a matter of time as we're working with the transition to get a better picture of where we are as a commission. But I think that we're very close to having that out. And of course I will remain on as interim coordinator and serve as best I can to minimize the gaps.
Thanks.
Lynn, this is Judy. Will the partnership members have a chance to take a look at the job description before it goes out? Just so we, those of us who have been on the partnership for a while, just know may know some things that are particularly helpful, have really moved things along, have been meaningful. I don't know. Anyway, just to share any thoughts before it's final.
I would, I don't think it's just my own decision to make. It would be a collaborative, I would like it to be a collaborative process, and Megan and I, and we'll definitely talk more about that along with, leadership. And we'll also get, advice from Katie Crystal in terms of how to proceed with that.
Right.
But I'm always leaning towards a collaborative approach.
Great. Good. Okay. Yeah. And Katie knows how she's been, supporter of the partnership and staying in touch for a long time. So that's good.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks.
Lynn, sorry, one more question for you and Megan.
Sure.
Now that Megan has graciously decided to step up to chair, have you all looked at considering who she might choose for a vice chair so that some of that burden is spread out a little bit?
Yes, well, I think first of all, I was very relieved after I talked with Megan, and Megan was, agreeable and actually enthusiastic about stepping up. And I know that Megan's super busy as well, but I really appreciate the stepping up in this transition period. Yes, our task is to move as quickly as we can to recruit for the vice chair. And, I probably need to sit with Megan to see what that process is. And I would imagine it's an open, kind of competitive process. So we would, be getting into that very, very quickly. I don't know if we have anyone that in particular that we are thinking of promoting, or I don't know what the process is. Do we vote on an individual, or we just open up the position and people kind of apply for it? So those who have been in the recruitment process in the past can be very helpful now of jumping in and helping me and Megan proceed.
I've been in that process before. I think if you put out a call for volunteers, that if there's anybody on the partnership who's interested in stepping in as vice chair with the hope that that person would eventually serve as chair, to let you and Megan know. Dave Carlson for many years served as vice chair. I don't want to speak for Dave, he's on the call. but he did it with the understanding that he didn't want to step up as chair. But, you know, we still took advantage of his good services to, you know, have him be vice chair. So I think if you put out the word and see who might step up, then, you know, the two of you can put your heads together. You know, that's just one person's thought. There are many others that may be,
Yeah.
you know, an application process that would turn, you know, that would intimidate someone like myself.
Yeah, I was on the sharp end of that nominating committee, and Bill Browning was the chair and asked me if I wouldn't do it, and I said only on this one condition. And Megan, I mean, I guess I wouldn't recommend that condition, but I think you're certainly entitled to ask folks. You have the list. It ought to be somebody who's not brand new, but you know, who's been on the partnership for a couple of years or knows what's up. I think it is required, isn't it? It's somebody, a community member, not one of the staff members. Pretty sure that's right.
Yes, I think that's right. It's not a staff member.
Yes, that is correct. I think Dave Carlson has always done an excellent job as vice president, I must say, or vice chair.
Yeah, don't promote me too much.
You have my vote for vice president too. But I do think there's an advantage to having a person who's in that position, who is sort of being prepared to take on the full leadership role. It's been difficult over the past, you know, time period with people, you know, moving and changing. This is a time of change. There's lots of people reevaluating their lives and doing different things. So on the downside, we have people who are with us that we love that have to leave. But on the good side, there might be other people who have thought, you know, I'm going to do something for my community and I want to get involved. And, you know, so I just want to make those 2 points. We do need, I think it's a good idea to have a vice president who understands they're going to be in the presidential, excuse me, I keep saying president, the chair role. So, and that, you know, as we look for new people, we need to encourage community members to realize, hey, this is a rotating leadership and everyone has the privilege of being a leader, as Michael was saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you. This is a really helpful discussion. Great. So I think, yeah, we can send an email around, but also approach people individually who might want to serve and make sure everybody feels encouraged and ready, and not that they have to, I mean, it's a, you know, technically it's a 2-year membership only.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a year to be vice chair and then you jumped in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be helpful, and we do get those materials when we start up, but especially the data that's so special and unique of a part of the partnership. I wonder if, you know, so Jeanetta's a new member, for example, maybe I could get together with someone who could kind of talk through a little bit what the partnership means to the county and a little bit of the rhythm of what we do. I know Kim put a lot of materials together when she left, a transition memo, and you know, we have that calendar, the presentation to the boards, which is really special that we go to the county and to the school board together. So there are a number of things that we do that are really unique and I think a real point of excitement, and hopefully will help get people interested and moving us forward. Especially after this very strange year, I think it'll be fascinating to see, maybe discouraging and fascinating to see what we see in the data next time around. So.
Right.
Megan, I agree with you on talking with new members about the partnership and answering questions, and it's kind of a the partnership is different from most commissions. We weren't even a commission for many years. It's only recently we became a commission. But because it's different and we want a lot, ideas and participation and inclusiveness, it's just, that's not probably different than any other committee, but just the kind of work that we do. We're looking at children, youth, and families, and that's our focus. I think it'd be really helpful. Now, I think in the past, I thought that the past chairs, Linda, am I wrong? But I thought that the past chairs met with new members to kind of orient them. Is that right,
That's
Linda?
right.
Yeah, and Dave?
No, I was just going to say that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with Lynn about that as new chairs have come on, trying to meet with the staff and then 15 other members, right there is a logistical challenge that I've witnessed numerous times. And right now, out of the 16 community members, there are 5 of you here, and I appreciate you all very much for being here, but it's definitely a challenge.
Well, it is. And that's why I think making those new members feel welcome and not just sit there and wonder how's this supposed to work. We need their voices, we need their input, and they need to feel really welcome. So it's really a key element to meet with them and listen to them and see their expectations and have them understand why the partnership exists. What are the expectations? It's just that's how you get commitment, I think, because everybody's busy. It needs to feel, you need to know what you're doing and feel like part of the group right from the beginning.
So we want to make
And
sure that
also
we,
feel-
go ahead, David. Dave, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
And also feel as if you're making a difference in the community.
Right.
And I know that, some of the best meetings I remember are the ones where we got educated by like the police department on opioids, for example, and all sorts of others. And then we turned around and involved the community in discussions and just, half a dozen tables with guided discussions, and those were always good. We had some big events as well. Obviously the times here are dictated a little differently, but yeah, it's nice to feel as if the group you're working with is making a difference. And I think this group has made a difference. Honestly, just knowing that the group exists, I think, is a comfort to a lot of people, some people anyway.
Good points, Dave. I was gonna remind us that we'll want to make sure that we'll invite Janetta to the P&D meeting so that she's looped in.
Yeah, and then Sally, if you do hear from Colton, just to check in and make sure he's still interested in participating. I know it's a strange year. Just peeking over, it looks like Janetta hasn't been able to join yet. I know she was going to be on the road. So we had a couple agenda items. One, besides introducing Janetta, we had follow-up from prior meetings John had raised, and then youth mental health and wellness if we have time for an update, which would be great. I don't know if we have a preference of which of those to put first. I know, so John's item, just to introduce it, was, we've had some great presentations in the last couple of meetings and talked about some needs of the kids, students in the county, and seeing some data about the challenges. And so trying to think through what the partnership might be able to do part of that might be education, to know what's being done already and what gaps there are and how we might be able to help fill those. That's one item. And then youth mental health and wellness is the other. So John, do you want to speak a bit more to what you had in mind?
Sure. I was saying that we had a couple of meetings where the plight of people of color was made very clear, and Whitney specifically spoke about the educational aspects of that when she brought up third grade reading and the number of the Black and other kids of color that didn't do as well as the Caucasians. And I was trying to think about what that would be, and data would help to know how well those kids were prepared for school when they first came. And from what I understand, a number of them weren't well prepared. I know the school is working very hard on both the supposed academic gap and now the academic or the opportunity gap. I think they're different and both important, actually. The academic gap measures the problem, and the opportunity gap is presumably part of the solutions to it. But their kids are taken care of once they hit school by the school, good intentions, good teachers. And it may vary in quality, but by and large, they've got somebody worrying about them. I'm trying to think about what the county might do between, let's say, birth or 1 year and the time they first hit preschools, or the Virginia initiative. And I was reminded of this actually, years ago when I got on various early childhood committees. And I asked my mom how she learned anything about raising a kid, because she was young and no education. And her answer was, well, Chicago sent a letter once a month to every new mother for the first 2 years saying, here's what you feed, here's what you might expect in development, here's what you do to help them learn, here's how you educate them, here's what you get for shots. And it was automatically done out of public health. So I realized that I'm not sure what the county does to support new parents, new births from sort of 0 to 4 years old, and would love to have an informational brief session on that. And to the extent we get a larger meeting with more of the both staff and members to bandy about some ideas. The advantage of staff being in partnership meetings is they can provide the real truth of what's possible. They know the staff demands, they know the costs. And so a lot of my ideas aren't very practical. I learned it by those meetings. On the other hand, they become people I can talk to even offline. So I think the partnership meetings are wonderful. I'd love to see something more about not just what the school is doing, because I know they've got plans. I'd like to hear that too. But what about the first 3-4 years? Anyhow, that's the question. I have no answers.
I have some thoughts or some to share. PI Parent Infant Education Program is an active program in the DHS that we work with, we collaborate with, and so there it's education and it's really promotion activities, just what John is talking about, 0 to 12, right? So I'm sorry, so 0 month to 12 month. And then we have in my shop a parent education coordinator, Leo Espina, who coordinates various education and parent support programs. So one you may have heard of is Project Family. Now, Project Family has been with Arlington for quite a bit, and we had some staff transition about 1.5 years ago. The program was re-envisioned. We stayed on with the program during the pandemic. So this is the program that serves 0 to 3, about 0 to 3. So this is hands-on education for parents and young ones for readiness for school issues, beginning to have structured play together. There's reading. There's lots of music therapy that's infused in it. And during the pandemic, we continue with it, and it was actually very successful. We sent programs and material to the homes prior to the group starting. They're 7 weeks long, and what we send home includes, beyond arts and crafts, we have blocks and letters and fidgets, and then we contract with music therapists to help us run the group, and then we have facilitators to run the class. And over the, I guess, past year, we've reached more than 400 children and their families, including siblings. And it's an amazing thing that I was very privileged to be able to pop in and be a fly on the wall on many of the sessions, and I just leave feeling really, really excited just to see the engagement. And the question we had at the beginning is that, can you engage with the really young ones over the screen? And the answer is yes. When I was there, I was sold in terms of these contractors. They're so engaging. These are teachers. And then the music is just amazing. So I know that Jamie, my supervisor here, has also dropped in on a few sessions, and we are just sold on the program. So that is a program that we are, scaling up, meaning that, as we return into in-person, we still want to keep some elements of it as virtual, because we felt that it really reached, particular populations that had barriers to go to a center to participate in person, for example. We used to do that at Arlington Mills, for example, in the community centers. But this way, from their living room, it just seemed like our reach was greater. So those are just, that's just one example. And I can have, Leo come and actually present, on some of the exciting programs that he has under him that answer some of your questions here, John, in a future meeting.
Sure. I think the programs you describe sound very nice. And I'm sure the participants truly benefited. But 3,000 kids are born every year in Arlington. So getting 400, the ones that know about programs and bring them. And I'm thinking about the kids that are not in a formal daycare necessarily, but somebody's taking care of them. And whether it's a older sibling or a person down the street or an informal childcare. I'd like to see those folks, the teens and adults that are doing childcare unofficially as well as officially, have more skills to know what to do. What we hear is kids should be read to from 6 months or so, if not earlier. Regularly, they should be talked to, they should be played with. And back when we had an early childhood committee, Marianne Moran developed 2 or 3 lovely one-page infographics that said that for parents, for churches, for I forget what all, but they were designed to say, if you've got kids, young kids, babies and toddlers around, here's things to do for their development. And not everyone knows that. And I know from some cultural situations we've seen, parents don't talk to kids by culture. And so you'd like to give them at least a word that if they do, it will help. It's different than culture. You can't tell them it's wrong, but you can say, if you want them to do well in school, be ready for school, reading to them, talking to them is a good idea. So I'm trying to reach out to the, 8 or 10,000 kids under 4. And reaching the caregivers, whoever that may be, because all of them have somebody taking care of them that can do something. So I'd love to hear about these programs too, but I think they require somebody signing up, having access to either time or coming to meetings. And there are a lot of other caregivers that don't do that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Those are great comments. And I think that's the ideal, I mean, you're looking at population change, population level change, right? And with our net that we catch hopefully a representative population, but not, the larger number. And I think that that's where we need to move towards, is like the environmental impact that it, you know, I'm completely with you. So I love to have more conversation in terms of how, as we are growing the parent education program, you know, I'm taking notes. So I love to talk to you more about that, John.
Lynn and John, just something else, and maybe, I know Rachel retired, so, and she was a large part of this, maybe some other people might remember, because we helped partner, John, they saw exactly what you were talking about all of the nannies and caregivers who would bring their kids to the library and really needed a little more support and education. And so they actually hosted series, and they would be at night, and they would provide snacks, and they were free, and they were for caregivers. And, you know, you didn't have to have kids, you could have kids. It was for, we did them in different languages. And really, I think, you know, it's kind of the tip of the iceberg, I acknowledge, John, but, you know, that was really something that they were looking at, and really trying to target, because they too felt like, you know, the caregivers in Arlington, not the formal caregivers, but the au pairs and the babysitters and the nannies and the grandmas could, you know, could all use a little extra support. Not saying the grandmas aren't great caregivers, but, you know, just being able to do that. So maybe when we could reach back to libraries and see if there's any interest in bringing that program back. Once they get started, I don't know what their plan is right now, but it was a super program.
I hear us talking about some great solution ideas, but I wonder, Lynn, if your team and others already have a sense of what the gaps are. Because maybe that's part of the presentation, is to let us know what some of the needs are. I know I read to kids in elementary school, and it was an under-resourced program. So even if they had volunteers who were calling in, the staff couldn't help everybody who wanted to help the kids. And so staff sometimes know better than everybody what the gaps are in the program and where we might be helpful. So that could be part of the discussion, is before we come up with solutions, you know, talk to people who are in the trenches and can say, you know, we've seen this start to work. If only we had X, you know.
Right. That's a good point.
Other comments, John? Did you have more to add, John? I saw you talking, I think, but I didn't hear you. Or others?
John, you unmuted and you muted again. Were you trying to have additional comments shared?
Well, I think Michael Swisher says you're supposed to wait 7 or 8, 10 seconds before you say something again. So I was trying to, I always have too much to say. But what I was going to say is that this was brought up by Whitney as an equity issue, but in fact, it's for all kids that are having any kind of academic issues coming into school and by 3rd grade. And we know how critical it is to read by 3rd, 4th grade. So it's an all kids with an equity flavor. And I think it's really important. I like the idea of learning what the gaps look like from those in the school system, from those doing the programs you suggested, Lynn. You know, is this, I'd love to hear that. I'm short of information. All I know is there's a real problem. And I know that people with good intentions at the school system are trying to do something about it. And I know that the county is doing these programs. School reaches all kids, but not until they're 4-ish. The county reaches a much smaller number. Those library programs were great. I don't know if they had to discontinue them, I assume, because of COVID. So they've been gone for 2 years. I don't know the cost. I don't know how many people came, but there's a lot of kids that need help.
Okay, so maybe this is a good thing for the P&D committee to think about as an agenda item, how to shape that and get some thoughts on who might be able to join us for that conversation at a meeting.
Mhm.
I keep
that's a good
peeking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think that's a good idea, and
Yeah.
to see who's doing what right now. Even the programs that are in schools or in community centers or wherever they are, just to, there has to be a way to figure out what's already going on, and then to help us see who's not getting the help that, what's missing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would be happy to work on something like
Right.
that.
So sort of, kind of parallel or an extension to the resource guide. We're describing like an asset mapping. What are the issues? What are the resources or the programs that address the issues, and what is still not addressed? I'm kind of hearing that from the various points here. We're kind of moving towards that, and I like it because I think that what we're doing is we're moving towards action, right? I think that as a commission, as a group, that we're moving towards action. What can we do? What can we promote, or what can we engage, given the data that we have, to create change ultimately.
I think you could almost say too that we're using the data that we gathered to identify gaps. I mean, it's sort of like a process where we, based on our data, we look out in the community, see what's out there, and then somehow link people, maybe who are already doing things, to either work together, collaborate, or to even just divide things up and have them do the actual, providing the services or whatever. One of the things I think the partnership gets stuck in sometimes is that what exactly are we doing? And, it's always been an outstanding question. But, if you consider how many of us there are, our meeting formats, all the other things that everyone else is involved in, it seems to me that the research based on the data and disseminating the information, making connections would be a very valuable thing in the community.
Yes, I agree, Rick. I think to be that linkage is important. That's maximizing our resources. We don't want to recreate the wheel if there are agencies or programs that are set up that's addressing certain issues that we see and they're just not meeting up. That's definitely is an important function. But I would go a step further and challenge us to being actively engaging in something, right? To do something. For example, a very simple example is ACEs, adverse childhood experience, right? So we don't have to necessarily become master trainers and go out and do the training, but I think we can be, because of the voice that we have and the credibility that we have in the community, that we can be a very important agent in the rollout of ACEs community-wide as we move towards a healing community, right? So that's an example where I think we can be very active towards a campaign, and beyond just sponsoring on our logo on a sheet of paper, but we're actively going out there and standing on the soapbox about the importance of recognizing early adversities and the impact, and how do we mitigate the impact on everyone in the community, down the line. I think there's many opportunities that we can do with that. I see some head nods, so hopefully I'm making sense. Yes.
You're making sense.
And I did want to say the libraries has stuck with a lot of, as any way they could, doing outdoor programs. Jen Sauter Price, if any of you know her, has been driving her book bus around all COVID, handing out books to 0 to 3. I work with her once a week, and my daughter reviews books that she leaves out on her porch, and then she gives free books to everyone. I know Leo has been giving books all over the place for the 0 to 3 age. So things are still happening, and it's good. And yeah, the more we can coalesce those and unstovepipe those efforts and be part of them, I think the better.
Okay. Again, it looks like Janetta is still not with us and she's probably caught in transitions. I wonder if we want to move towards youth mental health wellness updates if we haven't.
That sounds great. Yep, I was just peeking as well.
Okay.
So who's presenting to us from Youth Mental Health and Wellness? Or who can give us the update?
That was a request, not I didn't have time to reach out to the group and say, can you guys do that? So if one of you would like to, thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to kind of give just a very quick of kind of where we are with the committee. Kim DeBlau, who, as everyone knows, is a partnership member as well as the co-chair of the committee, could not be with us tonight. Sadly, well, it's good news and bad news. Her family is moving to Colorado next month, so she will be stepping down, obviously, from the partnership as well as our Youth Mental Health and Wellness Committee. I was going to leave that to the end, but maybe I'll say it at the beginning and the end. We'll be looking for, or we are looking for, a co-chair for the committee. And so if there's interest, if you know of someone who might be interested in just learning more, you can point them my way, of course. Obviously Lynn, and can speak to and Sally are regularly involved. Judy, of course, is involved intimately as well. So any of us would be happy to speak to anyone who might just want to know more that maybe hasn't attended our monthly meetings. One of the things that we've been focused on and we've shared periodically is around the Youth Mental Health and Wellness Guide. As all of you know, I use the royal we, were able to finally get that posted not so long ago, which is wonderful. And so now we've really been focused on the dissemination efforts of getting the link, just as many people as possible in the community, both organizations as well as individuals, to know that the guide exists and where to find it. So we continue those efforts. Including even just more recently, we talked about ways that we can promote it on the partnership website itself. Of course, we've talked with Dr. Kristen Devaney, who sits on our committee from APS on some of the web places where it could be posted. I know it is already posted under their mental health resources, so that is a nice addition there. But there's plenty of other places, and we did have some partners who were at our last meeting who kind of asked for the link and the guide, and are working to get that to their families that they work with. Anything that those that sit on the committee would like to add in terms of the guide itself? There was one last minute, I don't know how it turned out, but one very last minute thing that we worked on. And again, I use liberally the royal we, but it really turned to Sally and Lynn and their team to do this, was a flyer to have available at the fair. So I don't know whether that materialized completely. I know the flyer did, but how that turned out, I wasn't able to attend the fair myself.
Sure. I think yes, it was a last minute Hail Mary, and the team pulled it together, that it was really using a flyer that had already been created by the T&D with Siobhan Grayson, and then freshening it up and also putting a QR code on there so that passerbys click on the QR code. Some folks did that with their phone and not even pick up the flyer, which is great because it goes straight to the website, the guide, and they have it on their phone, and others picked up the flyer as well. So we want to share that flyer, electronically among our group here, and we can, just kind of go out and distribute as much as we can. So we did make it happen.
Great, thank you. That's great news.
Sure.
And I know that one of the questions that to someone in our last meeting, it might have been John actually, is how we might go about getting some of the analytics around the number of clicks on kind of the different, the guide and all of that. So I think we were going to follow up with Grace on that one to see if that's something that we can do both on the county websites, DHS partnership, as well as the APS sites.
I don't know if Grace has access to the analytics for the partnership website or for the school website. I do. I've been in training all week for Open Cities, the new web system that everything's moving to, and that will be a totally different analytics. So so I can pull some of those.
Yeah, I checked with my boss and he gave me the name of the webmaster, and I passed that on to Kristen Devaney. So I believe from where I am, that's all I can do. So, and I think the question was originally posed to Kristen. So she has that information now. I don't know what she's doing with it.
And when we made the QR code, you can see how many people use the QR code. I haven't pulled that since I helped close down the fair on Sunday night. I haven't done that because I've been in this training all week. So I can look at that. But
Yes.
Siobhan, thank you for getting that printed and the beautiful flyer that the teens made. I think it was Callie. So thank you guys for getting that.
Yeah, so maybe that's something that we can definitely, maybe at the next meeting, we can kind of have an update on what maybe those look like. Some of the other things we had talked about are, again, with the start of the school year, we talked about getting it into some of the various ways that families are being communicated with, be it through the counselor pages on the school's websites, the student services newsletter that is apparently going to be happening monthly, I believe, and discussing again some other ways as communications are being put out to families to share it, not just on a one-time basis, but to continue to share that link to the guide. Let's see, in terms of some of the other quick things, Michael Swisher joined us and shared with the group at our last meeting around the Askable adult training. So that was really interesting for us to hear about that project piece. I guess it's under project piece and this training one. I think the first sort of run of that training was actually last Thursday. So again, we had some discussion around that when he made the presentation, and ways that we could kind of see really getting the word out about that training to everyone from extended day providers, teaching assistants, church parent groups, things like that. So again, that was really helpful for us to have that presentation there. But we also talked about other groups that we might target. So again, both within the school as well as outside the school, coaches, bus drivers, cafeteria staff, attendance office personnel, and so forth. Let's see here. Another thing that was shared was around, actually that we had some discussion around the timeline for the surveys and all of that. Then Grace was with us and was able to share kind of what's going to be happening this coming year with the Your Voice Matters, as well as the Virginia Youth Surveys, which I think, Grace, correct me if I'm wrong, if that's the new name for our Youth Risk Behavioral Survey. Is that correct?
That is. Thank you for using the new name. And I use new in quotes because it's not that new. But yes, we are officially launching a campaign to know it as the VYS now.
Okay, the VYS. So I don't know if you want, I don't know if you're going to take one quick minute to say anything more about that, other than we know that you're working really hard with others on kind of all of the steps that you need to do over the next coming months and all of that.
Sure. I'm not prepped to present anything, but I can just give a quick rundown. So we have 2 surveys happening this year. As was just stated, we've got the Virginia Youth Survey, which is a state-directed survey. It's administered to students 6th to 12th grade. We are oversampling, which means we attempt to survey as many students in the district as we can. So all students are given the opportunity to do it. Parents can opt out. It will be administered sometime end of October, beginning of November. Fingers crossed that, our year doesn't get screwed up like it did the last year. All that survey information is then turned over to the state. The state analyzes it and throws back some numbers for us. We can also run some numbers internally, and that will happen sometime early 2022. And we should be able to start disseminating things in spring. Your Voice Matters is a APS administered survey for students 4th to 5th grade and 6th to 12. Please don't quote me on that, but there's definitely 4th and 5th graders in there. We are currently in the process of working with multiple departments around the school district, and then we'll be working on the county side to get feedback on the questions. As was brought up on our meeting on Monday, we don't want to change questions too much because then we can't look at trends year to year. But there are some minor changes that are being looked at. The survey is pretty long, so we're not trying to add anything as much as we're trying to take things out. But we're working with different departments to do that. That will be administered in the early 2022, so January, February. It's also analyzed by an outside contractor, but then all that information will be pumped out again around the same time that we should have VYS data. So the next spring will be a great time to look at some data from multiple sources. So yeah, we've got an exciting year coming up. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Grace. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot for that.
Oh no, of course. I'm not prepped to show my timeline. That's the only thing. But I'm
no worries. No
absolutely happy to talk through it.
I imagine this might be a future agenda item for our partnership meetings anyway. So
sure thing.
But this was one, of course, because of the data is one that we're very interested in, of course, in the Youth Mental Health and Wellness Committee. And then maybe just one of the last things is, because we had a lot of rich discussion, was around kind of discussing and how both APS and DHS are going to address students who did not engage during like this past year and during remote or year and a half with remote learning and or summer school. What happens when they don't show up, when school starts, next week. And some real concerns about that. Elisa Cowan, that many of us know is also we know is a strong advocate for a lot of families. She hears firsthand from families through her NAMI support group, and there's a lot of families are really concerned with the school starting and what they're going to do and what support they're going to get. So that's something that I know is going to be a continued conversation, but was one that sort of closed out our last meeting. So I'll turn it back to you all, but certainly Lynn and others who attend that committee meeting, if there's anything you'd like to share, please do.
That's a good recap, Alicia. I think that you captured it well, comprehensively in terms of the content and the tone of the meeting. I like to quickly talk about the last point there of Elisa Cohen raising the issue that she's aware from families that she's connected with about youth, especially older youth who disconnected and the increased challenges of reconnecting as school is starting. And Dr. Devaney talked briefly about they have a protocol in terms of how to address that. And I think with DHS, we want to reemphasize our outpatient services, that we do have same-day access. We've had it for a long time. It still is very active. There's no wait list that individuals can contact and have same-day assessment or consultation. And if individual youth and students are symptomatic or they're functionally impaired in any domain, they can definitely be referred to us, give out our assessment numbers so that they can reach out to us and we can begin to help them navigate through what may be helpful. So I would, saying all that to say that I want to highlight the importance of linkage, that our service is there, and it's a matter of, if you are aware of families who are struggling, provide that linkage, and the family can choose to reach out to us, and once they do, then we can take it from there. We have a good protocol. We have capacity to engage. So there's no wait list whatsoever. Just call us. So that's what I wanted to add. But maybe, if I may, Megan, for a couple minutes to change gear a little bit and fill the group in with what's coming up for us in terms of prevention and DHS, because September, as you are aware, is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, right? And we have a plethora of activities and events. Most excitingly is we have yoga in the park. We talk about wellness and promoting self-care and wellness. And Dr. Sonia Richmond did a fantastic job at our May symposium with the yoga sessions that she provided. So we have every week I'm sorry, I don't have the flyer that would be emailed out to the whole group here after the meeting, but we picked parks all over Arlington for 4 weeks. So once a week, it'll be in the park, and individuals can choose to participate in person or virtual. So there's an option to go into a Zoom room and participate with her. She's just, phenomenal. We had such great response last time we did that. So that's one thing. The second thing that we're doing is twice in the month, we are having facilitated video viewing on suicide awareness. So we are kind of crafting various YouTube videos, mostly from TED Talk, and that talk about the impact of suicide. And we have clinicians who will facilitate the discussions afterward to process the experience, and also to link them to resources that we have in the community, in the county, in terms of mental health and suicide prevention. So that happens twice a month. We also are having some tabling events right outside of DHS to engage with the community and the traffic that goes through, to again, having conversations, having information dissemination, and lots of swags to give out to the community members. I was at the county fair for just 3 hours, and I was very enthused to just see the traffic of folks going through and really stopping by the table. And there was like lines. We have 2 banquet tables, 2 long 8-foot long tables of material and stuff to give out. And people just like lining up and slowly going through like they're going through a buffet and having conversations. And I gave out so many gun locks, trigger locks, and cable locks. And this is not people just grabbing it just because it's free. There's conversations about, the importance of suicide prevention, what our data is about, death by suicide with firearms. And these folks are saying, yeah, I have my grandkids coming to the house. I need these things. Or, my roommate needs some. So it was really nice to see, including also they grabbed a lot of medication deactivation pouches that we had out and medication lock boxes. So that was a fantastic event that we had, and we're looking forward to more interaction in front of Sequoia. What am I missing? Yes, also, and this is where an ask for us all here is, we are part of the campaign to raise awareness is we are doing yard signs. And this comes a great idea from Jamie here. Let's do yard signs. Let's get the message out there in the community about the importance of, asking, are you okay? The importance of, destigmatizing mental health. And we have 250 yard signs that's coming to us this week. And we need everyone's help to take one or as many as you need back to your community and have folks put them up in the yards. They're very pretty, very well done in 5 languages. So we have them in our top 5 languages in the county. And we can also send an email out with samples of the yard signs and images so you can choose, which one you would like. For example, one message is Still I Rise, which is from Maya Angelou, in terms of it's a very nice and positive picture. The Teen Network board with Siobhan created a couple of beautiful, beautiful and very modern looking posters and yard signs with one is with a pair of shoes that is, let's walk together and put the stigma of mental health behind us. And we want to be strategic in having that at parks, like parks and recreation places, like in trails and sports fields. So we are wanting to line up converging healthy activities that folks are engaging in already and bolstering the message and the importance of self-care and suicide prevention in that. So we will need, the TNBs can help us a lot with the dissemination of those yard signs, but we're going to ask everyone to help here as well. And also, if you have good contacts with the Civics Federation folks, I thought that would be a good way to distribute too, through their contacts in all communities in the community, all groups in the community to have that out. Rick, you have your hand up. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot here.
No worries. I wanted to just follow up on your idea of linkage, this idea of connecting to different organizations, especially and going back to the idea of kids and truancy. I mean, we're expecting mental health issues. We're expecting, delinquency and truancy sort of be on the rise as kids return to school. A lot of things have been happening in the background. We just haven't had reporters looking at it. And we're also doing a lot of preventive activities. We're definitely encouraging schools and the police to refer families to our intake unit because we have lots of connections with people that we can refer them to. And this would, especially be for, a case where they feel like their child is out of control or going down the wrong path, more of a high risk thing that, the court services unit has lots of people and lots of experience working with people who are not only, on the criminal side of things, but just on the risky behaviors side of things. So we do have several things going on. We have Angel Cabrera, who is working with the intake unit and going to the schools, meeting with the new reconstituted police officers who will not be in the schools, but they'll be working as, community resource officers. So I just want people to know that the juvenile court has lots of things that we can offer, lots of connections and effective working relationship with DHS and schools, and definitely want to be part of the prevention effort because we do expect a lot of things to be bubbling up in the fall.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. I also see Jamie's hand up. Yes, Jamie.
So in addition to what you said about children's behavioral health, we will be continuing to have parent support groups on a variety of topics. And we can always add groups as we need to. We're continuing, like Lynn said, we are open, we've been open. We are providing in-person and telehealth sessions, and starting in September, we will have walk-ins on a limited basis. And something that's really nice about us is that you can call our intake line. Families can call if they have questions. It doesn't have to be about receiving services from DHS, but if they have questions, we have access to a lot of resources. How to use your own insurance, that comes up a lot. So families can always call. And if you are in contact with a family that has questions, feel free to link them to our intake hotline to talk to a clinician and ask questions. And there's free consultation. So we are we are still here and definitely open. And like I said, providing in-person and telehealth sessions.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay.
Other announcements or feedback, reactions, comments? Well, I think with that, we're going to meet Janetta next time.
Yes.
It is wonderful to see you all. Lynn, do you have anything further to wrap us off?
No,
Wrap
I
us
want to
up?
thank everyone. No, thank everyone for being here. I think it was a great, productive meeting. We look forward to seeing you next time or in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye.